Good morning, Flosstube. It is Sunday the 29th of January 2023. My name is Sarah and you are very welcome to my channel, SewMeSarah. Thank you for joining me. If you are new, I want to say thanks for giving the channel a chance, and if you like what you see, then please join us and subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss out on my future updates. I have already recorded this video today. Well, I thought I was recording this video today. I have already been talking for 45 minutes at a screen that was not recording. 10 seconds was all that was recorded. Anyway, I am now short on time. The house will be busy soon, so I am going to try to give you an abbreviated version, perhaps, of what I was sharing earlier. But I'm sure we will catch up at better length next time. So I'm going to get on with it, really. Thank you to those of you who always watch, who come back faithfully, video after video, who comment and engage, and you know how much I appreciate that. I really appreciate that since the last time you came back to me and made some suggestions for my viewer who was having trouble with her Lugana and getting the needle through the fabric. So I have directed her to your responses, and I thank you for trying to help out another stitcher, and I'm hoping that she will have much more success than she did previously. I think she's getting on okay now with her stitching. I wanted to say thank you to Jean, who is a viewer who isn't on social media, so she isn't able to share her stitching via Instagram, join in the SALs and such. But Jean was very kind and sent me an email of her gorgeous, absolutely stunning and spectacular sampler finishes. So there's so much talent out there that isn't being shown because it's not on social media, and I totally respect if you don't want to be or can't be or whatever the reason is. But Jean, thank you so much for taking time to share your stitching with me. That was a real privilege to see. I have admin, so I've got a giveaway to sort out. Let me just reach for it. I have the Cross Stitch for the Heart book, which I was giving away in my last episode. This was a popular giveaway. There were 59 of you who were interested in receiving this book, and the winner is Libby Gracie. So Libby, congratulations. If you can contact me either on the email address, which is in the drop down below, or via Instagram direct message, I'm SewMeSarah over there, then I will get this in the post to you. Just a word, Libby, international post from the UK is not fully operational again. I think maybe tracked post is, but full international post is not open, so I will be holding on to this until international post resumes normal service. I'm sorry about the delay in getting this to you, but there's been some kind of cyber attack at the Royal Mail, and it's been ongoing for a few weeks, and excuse me, I don't think my voice is going to hold out, but anyway, we'll keep trying. So yes, there's been a cyber attack at Royal Mail, and it's been ongoing, trying to resolve that. Once it is fully resolved, I will get this in the post to you if you can forward me your address. I had a share away from a previous video, from video number 37, for this chart, which was shared by one of the viewers. It's brand new, it's high cotton welcome, and the original winner has not contacted me. I have waited several videos now and mentioned several times that winner's name, but they haven't, they maybe haven't been watching and have missed out. But I want to pass this on, so I have redrawn, and the winner of this is Maureen W. So Maureen, who is a regular viewer and from Ontario, Canada. Maureen, I will pop this in the post to you again when international postage is fully operational. But in the meantime, if you go ahead and contact me either on the email address or on Instagram and send me your address, then I will get this ready for popping in the post as soon as is possible. Thank you for those of you who have joined my Instagram hashtags for the Real Comfort SAL and for the Lizzie Kate strings. I'm going to pop the hashtags for those down below and keep them in the show notes sort of on an ongoing basis. So any of the open hashtags that I have for projects that I'm doing that you can join in with and share your stitching on the similar same projects, I'll keep those running down below in the show notes, just because they are, I'm not going to necessarily mention them every single time, and they will be there for you if you would like to join us and share your work on some of the things that I'm also stitching. I wanted to do a little January accountability update. Just my plans for this year are to purchase as little as possible in terms of patterns, simply to allow me to focus on the patterns that are already in my stash that I love and want to stitch. So I'm happy to report that in January I made no purchases. I didn't even download the freebies that I wanted to. I've made a note. For example, Hands-On Design, Kathy Haberman, always designs an anniversary piece for her husband, Mr. HOD, and their anniversary is around Valentine's Day, and Kathy kindly shares that as a freebie with all of us. So I have a number of Kathy's freebies already in my stash that need to be stitched up, and this year's one is called Love You Too, and I will be adding that to my stash, but after this year, after the time whenever I have stitched a lot of what I already have. So I'm holding that one on a wish list. Market is going to be a challenge because there's going to be so many goodies coming out from Market, but I'm going to have to close my eyes and just keep stitching. But anyway, I'm glad to report that January has been a successful month in it's not that it's a success in no purchases, it's a success in stitching from stash. I got Happy Mail yesterday. When I arrived home, I had been out in the morning, and when I arrived home there was a little parcel on my doorstep from friend Margaret, and Margaret lives around the corner and she is a stitchy friend, although we've been friends for a long time prior to knowing that we each stitched. But Margaret left me a lovely little gift, and it is a stitching journal. And this is a stitching journal that is available on Amazon, certainly on Amazon UK. It is by Stitching Cabin. So if you're looking for it, you will see it by Stitching Cabin. And I enjoyed this so much that I spent last night updating it. I updated it for January because obviously it's an annual, it's a year-long stitching journal. And I just updated the January section of it, and I now look forward to filling in for February. So it starts with an accomplishment log. So you can write down things that you've accomplished in the month in each of the little monthly boxes. Then there's a similar page for new starts. You can see I had 5 in January. And a page for finishes, just the one so far. And then there's a lovely spread for your yearly stitching goals, which you can write out. And then you can break down into specific monthly goals. So I've been able to tick off the goals that I had for January, and I will be making my February goals soon. After that, there's a year tracker. I'm sharing this just in case you want to see. I've never seen this journal before, so I think it's interesting always to see what a journal contains and whether that would be useful to you. I really like this one, so I'm sharing it with you. I'm not sure what you are supposed to keep in the year tracker, but what I have done is just ticked off all of the days that I've actually stitched. So far in January, there's only one day that I haven't stitched. It's a good, quiet, stay-at-home month in January, and there's been a little bit of stitching every day. After that, there are monthly spreads which I'm using for plans. So I plan out what I want to stitch this month, so hopefully on this day, this is what I'll stitch. The reality might be a little bit different, but we can start with a plan. So there's one of those for every month at the beginning. After that, there are what I would describe as journaling pages. So you've got your month, what's working, so you can journal a little bit about what's going well this month, what's not. And then there are 3 pages with cute little artwork on for you to write a little bit more, journal a little bit more about your work. And then the month finishes off with a whip tracker. So you write your whips down the side and tick in. I've been ticking off the days that I've actually worked on that piece. So this will be an actual stitching record as opposed to the one that is a plan record, a plan here. This is just how I'm using it. I'm sure that you can use it in other ways too. So those journaling pages and whip tracker exist then for all of the months of the year. And then at the back, you've got a progress tracker, which allows you to do a little percentage tracker of, you know, how complete your project is. So you can put the name of your project and fill in what percentage is complete. And then there's a wish list, which is going to be useful for me this year, as I'm not making my purchases. I'm going to just write them on a wish list and hold off for a while before I leap into purchasing. And then there's a waiting in the wings section. So you could put in here anything you have already kitted, ready to go, or what's coming next for you. And then there's an expense tracker, which is either very useful or we just pass on by. And then there are some pages for a reading list, for notes, and for doodling, drawing. And that is the beautiful stitching journal that was gifted to me by Margaret. So thank you very much, Margaret. As you can see, I've already done a lot of work filling it in, so I do really enjoy it and look forward to completing it throughout the year. So if you're interested, I do think this is on Amazon UK anyway, and possibly other Amazon US, whatever, but you could look for it. And again, it's by Stitching Cabin. Okay, it's time to actually show you some stitching before the onslaught and the noise appears and I lose my time altogether for recording this video. So let me show you what I have been stitching. This video is mainly just more progress on the same things that I have shown before, so I hope that's not too boring for you all, but here goes. First up is the one I was having trouble with last time, Afternoon Tea, the Karen Carter collection for Heritage Crafts. So my problem with this was the teapot. I started in the center because it's a kit. I started in the center because I'm not sure how much of a border allowance they've left. And I started in the center, but that meant that I was stitching over the page break of the pattern, and the page break didn't have an overlap on the pattern. So of course, all of you lovely, sensible people told me exactly how it should be done. And you're quite right. I should have taken a working copy and pieced it together, taped it together so that it would be much easier to see. But that would have involved waiting to start. And I wasn't waiting to start. I had a notion to start this and I just plowed on with it. So sometimes I can be very obstinate and it isn't the best way to approach things. And next time I know better and hope to do better. But anyway, thank you also for your encouragement to keep going and get through. And I did get through the teapot. And now we have a beautiful yellow rose and pink roses teapot. So it was a relief to get this far. And I'm just going to chip away at this. I don't have a big, I don't have a deadline for this or a goal or anything. I just want to chip away perhaps a little section every month if I can. So I've kind of made a little start on this teacup stack, and that's probably where I'll work next. So that's not the teacup stack at all, is it? Oh, it is. It is. I just had a sudden thought that the colour was wrong for the teacup stack, but I think it's actually the stripe on this pink mug that is a more of a yellowy colour, yellowy orangey colour. So anyway, that will be making hopefully an appearance in my February stitching just for a little bit. Next up is my work on my daily thread stitch, which is the Jane Austen Real Comfort Jane Austen sampler by Modern Folk Embroidery. I am stitching this, as I said, as my daily thread stitch. So every day that I sit down to stitch, I take one length of thread and work it in. I have missed a couple of days this week because I was impatient to do something else and I didn't take the time to do my daily thread. But anyway, I'm still making very nice progress and I'm very happy. And this is one that you can join in with on Instagram if you are stitching the Real Comfort piece. You don't have to be stitching it as a daily thread, you can just be stitching it regularly. Just share your progress. So it's because it's one thread a day, it's slow and steady progress, but there is progress and it's amazing, I think, to see how it just keeps building and building and building, and I'm very happy. This is being stitched 25 count 1/1. It's an ecru DMC even weave, which is actually very nice to stitch on. Not the fanciest of fabric, but nice to stitch on nonetheless. And I'm stitching with Classic Colourworks Red Licorice. I love the colour. I'm a little bit disappointed that I'm not seeing very much variegation in it, but it's only a little bit disappointing because it's beautiful colour anyway. And I love red. Next, I did some work on Glitter Village. My work on Glitter Village is slow. I do find this one of my slowest stitches. I think, oh yeah, I'll get a whole house done and I don't. But that's okay. This is house number 4 of Glitter Village. It's the one I'm working on. I'm getting better at stitching with this glittery linen. Don't look too closely at the white stitches, but anyway. I need some more of the metallic. It's an Overa Soie metallic thread, and I've used almost a spool already. And it's not used that much, but there's maybe just not so much on a spool. I've never used this before, so I don't know. And also because it comes as 9 separate patterns, it's just listed that you need that thread, and maybe you're not aware that you need more than 1 spool of it, so I am going to need another spool eventually, possibly after the next one, which I'm really looking forward to because it's a beautiful little white church for right in the centre. Anyway, it is slow and steady progress on this, and it's going to be so pretty when it's finished. It will be worth the effort, even if it does take forever. So that is my Glitter Village progress. I apologise that I keep clearing my throat. I have ongoing issues. Next, I have a little bit more progress on this Zigouigui Delight, which is a Riolas kit. I have now stitched this central motif, which is in the back. It is in the centre of the design. So here we go. Again, a 25 count even weave, stitched 1/1. Teeny tiny stitches, but beautiful. So that, as you can see, will be the back of the cushion, and then the designs that are stitched out here will become the fold overs somehow eventually. So I am looking forward to more progress on that, and I'm just taking my time to work through it. Another one that I'm taking my time on and savouring is A Saviour's Praise by Shakespeare's Peddler. Hope there's not too much glare on there. I am stitching mainly in the Called For on a 36 count platinum Zweigart linen. Mainly the Called Fors are anchor threads. I have changed a couple of them to be similar to the modifications that Laurie Holt made. She changed out her red to a DMC slightly brighter red, and she stitched different colours in here where where this floss is very pale and almost ghosting into the fabric. she has stitched something else, as she has also in the basket. So I will probably follow Laurie's lead on that, and it's not so much introducing a new colour, but redeploying some of the colours that are used elsewhere in the chart. Anyway, for now I have been working on the border pieces, and this is what I have been stitching. So I have worked on this top piece of the border which says joy, and this little bit here that says hope as well. So when I'm tackling this border, what I've done is used this vine line, and as it creates a section, so for example this bit here, this is the section that I've stitched, and up here I then filled in this section, you know. So I've been using that as a way to sort of progress and follow in a logical way, because it's such an eclectic border. It's not a repeated regular border. It's beautiful, and I'm really enjoying this stitch. And it's on just a regular Zweigart fabric called Platinum, and it's a 36 count Edinburgh linen, and I love it. Okay, next is my current pride and joy, which is Modern Folk Embroidery, a patchwork family sampler. And I have managed to finish page 8, which is like the August, would have been the August release of this SAL. And it makes me about 2/3 finished, so it's exciting. Let me show you. Let's see if I can get it all in. Ta-da! So page 8 is this house over here, and this border section. Oops, sorry, lots of little bits of confetti and lots of little windows where I didn't want to carry my stitching again. So yeah, that was a little bit time consuming, but the way that I tackle this, someone did ask me, and the way that I tackle this sort of confetti and smaller bits is to work on something that's more continuous, like with leaves and trees. And whenever I come to a point of natural stopping, where I have to stop and finish off my thread, if I've got enough left to stitch an individual stitch, or one of these little four stitched flowers, or 4 stitches for the windows, then I would take that extra floss and work in there. So I was able to do that quite often, and sort of periodically as I was stitching the other parts of this design, which means that when it comes to the end, I don't suddenly find myself with this entire piece of confetti to have to do. It's mostly already been done. Excuse me. So that is how I've approached that, and I'm so chuffed with this piece. It looks slightly red sometimes, I know, in my photographs and on here, but it is actually a deep pink 3832 DMC. So there we have my progress on the Modern Folk Embroidery family patchwork. And then I have another big one, so I'll just switch the board over. And this one is the Alice in Wonderland by Oil Forest Embroidery. Now this piece I'm stitching with a friend. We are doing it as a little, you know, stitch along. Nothing formal, just the 2 of us. And here we go. Oh, please. Sometimes on the bigger piece of fabric, I do need to use the clips to hold it on the board. Generally speaking, the wadding will hold like magic, but on these bigger pieces, especially once they have thread on them, I think the weight of the piece changes and it doesn't hold as much. There we go. That's better. So last night I started to work up here on the Mad Hatter and the crow and the heart, or whatever the bird is, and the heart. And I am going to continue working on him tonight and tomorrow night, and hopefully get this top corner section complete. So here's what I'm aiming for. So there's a little bit of time left in January, and hopefully I will manage to get that done. I've also done a little bit more on my Lizzie Kate strings. This one is Buzzy String, and it's the summer version. I changed out the flag, which is a beautiful stars and stripes, but not relevant to me. So I changed it to a union flag. I need to fix it because I've forgotten to put the white horizontal and vertical outlining in.
Right, in you go.
But I will try to do that. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello.
Do you want to say hello to everyone?
Hi.
You sit up here. Up. Oh, you're getting big.
Oh, big.
You say hello.
Hello.
Where have you been today? Where did you go?
Coffee shop.
To the coffee shop?
It has scones there.
Oh no, you had scones.
And some cherries.
And cherries. Oh.
After those cherries.
Daddy had cherries?
No, it's not Susan.
What?
So he's eating for cherries.
Daddy was eating the cherries?
Yeah.
You're a rascal. And then where did you go after the coffee shop?
I said goodbye.
You said goodbye?
Yes.
And where did you go? Where did you go?
It's the secret gate.
To the secret gate? Wow. And what's in the secret gate?
Dogs.
Dogs?
I don't like dogs.
I know. But is it the forest park? The secret gate to the forest park?
Yeah.
And did you go exploring with Daddy?
Yes.
Was it fun?
Yes.
Were you a good girl?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Okay, good girl. So you can see that I have lost my time of peace and quiet, and Charlotte has breezed through or come through like a hurricane. And she's back from her Sunday morning adventures with Dad at the forest park. So I will wrap this up while I can and show you. I think I was showing you the Lizzie Kate Buzzy String, which is the summer version. I can't quite remember what I'd said, so apologies if this is repetition. I haven't worked a lot on this. I have been using it, just picking it up in the kitchen while I've been waiting for dinner to beep or whatever. I have just stitched up to the letter E, and I have stitched the flag. Now the original clearly is a stars and stripes, which is lovely but not very useful to me. So I have changed it to the Union flag, and something isn't quite right about the flag, and I think I've just worked out what it is. So up close you can see that I have cross-stitched a horizontal and a vertical row of red in the center, and everything else then had to be long stitch or satin stitch, really, because there just simply wasn't enough stitches to be able to do it, and I wasn't going to do it over one. So what I have forgotten though is to put in the white outlining on the horizontal and vertical red cross. So I need to go back and finish that and hope that it still allows some of the blue to show. And I'm quite happy with that little adaptation and look forward to stitching the rest. These charts don't take very long. You know, 2 nights would finish this. There'd be no drama. 2 nights would do it from beginning to end, really, but I have only just literally, you know, picked it up and stitched one letter at a time just this week. So, but I am ahead because I finished 2 strings in recent weeks, so no problem with this. If you're wanting to share your strings, any of the Lizzie Kate strings that you're stitching, there is a hashtag that you can join me on, and that is in the information box below. My last piece of stitching that I worked on was a new start, and that was the Caterpillar Cross Stitch British Isles Mystery SAL. I was very excited for this one to start, and the first pattern release was on the 26th, so that was on Thursday. So I spent Thursday night and Friday night stitching and stitching and stitching, and we have a start. Here is the start. This is the kit fabric. This is one of the fabrics you could order in the kit. This is an even weave, and it's a very pale blue. Let me see if I can, no. Oh, you see, I've forgotten to turn my light back on. That might help. Oh, yes, slightly better. Yes, so I was wondering where we would start on this British Isles adventure, and it seems that Sally and her team at Caterpillar Cross Stitch have decided to start in Scotland and northwest England. So up here we have Edinburgh Castle. I've seen a few people, a few Scots, change the flag that's flying and made it a saltire, which is a great idea. It's the flag of Scotland. So at Edinburgh Castle, hardly recommend a visit to Edinburgh as a city. I love it. I'm not a city person normally, and Edinburgh is very busy, but it's a smallish city and really, really beautiful. I love Edinburgh. And the castle is a fantastic visit if you are there. Then as you come down, you can see the outlining of the land. So this is northeast England, and as you come down, you'll be coming down through Newcastle and Gateshead, and my son is in around here in Durham as well. That's where he's at university. But this next motif is the Angel of the North, and you will find that in Gateshead. It is a great big steel art sculpture by Anthony Gormley, and it was intended to represent hope, as it is built on the site of a disused coal mine, so the closed coal mine. So there were, changes in the community, in that northern community, moving away from an industrial age and into an information age. Anthony Gormley's sculpture is meant to signify hope, like a guardian angel watching over, that kind of idea. I am not probably explaining and expressing this terribly well, but you could always Google if you are interested. It is enormous. I have seen it in passing as we were in the Gateshead, Newcastle area on holiday. One year I had dropped down to Gateshead and passed it on the motorway, and I was really shocked at how enormous this thing is. So up until then I'd only ever seen it on the television or in photographs, and just hadn't got an appreciation of the scale of it at all. So it is huge. I think it was built around 1999, 1997, 1999, something like that. It was erected, not built, but erected. Coming down the coast, then we have good old-fashioned British fish and chips. So hard to beat a decent fish and chips when you're at the beach. Over here in the sea, because the northeast is a fishing community, so we have a lobster to represent some of that. Further down we have Clifford's Tower, which is in York. York is another of my favourite cities. Again, a smallish city, lots to see and do, and just absolutely beautiful, really, really beautiful. Now, Clifford's Tower is the only part of York Castle that still remains. There's a lovely museum just beside Clifford's Tower. I think it's called the York Castle Museum, and it's a great day, especially if you've got kids as well. It's a lovely place to visit if you are in York. You will not be at a loss for things to visit and see if you ever go to York. So any of our international friends who have never been to York, absolutely definitely worth a stop on your visit to the UK. Moving across from the northeast to the northwest, we have Blackpool Tower. Blackpool Tower was erected in 1874, I think. Give me a little bit of grace, maybe 1894. And it was intended to be a replica, a smaller version replica of the Eiffel Tower. Not an exact replica, but something like it. Underneath, at the bottom, there's a complex, like an entertainment complex, and in there you will find the Blackpool Tower Ballroom, which is famous for hosting, currently for hosting Strictly Come Dancing once a year for their Blackpool Tower event. But international dancing competitions have been, ballroom dancing competitions have been held at Blackpool Tower for many, many, many years. So I've seen Blackpool Tower once. I was not brave enough to go up. They say it sways, and I am imagining northwest England is pretty windy and breezy often, so I'm not ready to brave the sway. So I'll just look from the bottom and say, oh, that's lovely. So here we have the edge of the land again, just above and below Blackpool Tower. So out in the middle of what is the Irish Sea, I am assuming this to be the Isle of Man, which is a UK territory. I'm not sure if I'm describing this properly, but they do have their own government. But they are part of the UK. Now, above the Isle of Man is a Scottish kilt, which I probably should have talked about, would have made more sense in line with the with talking about Edinburgh Castle. But this is a Scottish kilt, so this is the tartan of the kilt. And this would be, you know, the borderlands between England and Scotland be very rich in tartan history. Do not ask a Scotsman or an Irishman, indeed, what's under their kilt, what they wear under their kilts, because they will show you. They will show you, and it might be a surprise. So yeah, tread carefully with that question. But there you go. Those are the elements of the British Isles Adventure Mystery SAL by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And those are the elements so far. So it was lots of fun to find out which elements were being included and to stitch them up. So that was very exciting this week to have the release of the SAL. One little thing that I just noticed, Sally Wilson, who is the founder of Caterpillar Cross Stitch, founder and owner, she had posted about the SAL and, you know, how you can buy the kit and needle minder and that. And what she revealed about the needle minder, which I hadn't noticed, is have we look at the London bus, which is fabulous. But can you see it's got number 23 on it? No, you can't, because it's not showing well. Let me see. Can you see? It's a number 23 bus for 2023. So I had missed that entirely. I hope you can see it, but it is number 23 bus. So that is all of my stitching. It was quite a lot, but it may not look like huge amounts of progress to you because I've been spread out across the projects. In terms of plans, I have the next part of the Caterpillar Cross Stitch will be released on the 26th of February, so there will be that. I would like to stitch part 9 of the Modern Folk Embroidery Family Patchwork Sampler. And I would just like to keep progressing everything else. Of course, I've got 2 new starts this month, next month, February, coming. I have 2 SALs, the first being the Rejoice Evermore SAL. Well, it's going to be called Rejoice SAL on the hashtag. I'm doing this with Joanita from Stitchy Things and with quite a number of others as well who I've said they will join us on our Instagram hashtag. So if you have this chart or would like to join us, please do. It doesn't matter if you've already started, you can just hop in and share your progress with us and keep us all inspired. So I have already kitted this up. I think I'm using the called for flosses and I think a piece of platinum again. Right, yes, Edinburgh Platinum. I'm just having a little look in my project bag for this one. And I am really looking forward to that start. That will be on the 14th of February. Now the other SAL that I was hoping to join in this month also starts on the 14th of February, and that is Strawberry Fair by October House Fibre Arts. And this SAL is being hosted by Helen D and Carla of Cobweb Corner, Thank you for telling me about Carla's Flosstube channel. I am going to make some time to watch that, hopefully this afternoon. But Helen D and Carla are starting this SAL. They hadn't a date release, but now they do, and they've chosen the 14th of February also. So I have 2 SALs starting on that date. I will start Rejoice Evermore on the 14th, and this one perhaps a day or 2 later, just because to fit them in. But I'm really looking forward to this. I have it all kitted up in my bag and in my strawberry bag. And yes, looking forward to that as well. So those will be 2 new starts for February, and hopefully just keep everything else moving along, because I am enjoying it. My plans are working. I am focusing on the stitches that I already have and the patterns that I already have. So I think that is it for the update, today's update, and for the end of my January stitching. It's been a good stitchy month. I have a weekend away next weekend, so I won't probably be doing as much cross stitch as usual, but it is a sewing weekend with my friends. We're going up to the north coast of Northern Ireland, and we are going to take our sewing machines, and we are going to chat and laugh and probably have a walk on the beach if it's not too bad weather, and probably indulge in some fish and chips. And we are also going to make a project bag. So I believe we're going to use Elizabeth Ann Can Stitches pattern, her tutorial, and the 5 of us are going to sit down and make project bags. So I'm looking forward to that. My good friends Noreen and Catherine, I think, are cross stitchers, and we're going to have to possibly try and convince Lisa and Stephanie to join us in our obsession. But either way, everyone is happy to make project bags. So that is the plan for next weekend, and I don't have a project bag for my afternoon tea stitch, so I think I'm going to have a look, because I'm pretty sure I've got some afternoon tea style fabric in my stash down there. And I think that would be a cute thing to do, is to make a project bag, not just to match, but to make use of the fabric that I have, and have a fun stitch next weekend. So I hope you also have some fun plans, and I hope that you are able to get together with stitchy friends, whether that's in real life or on Zoom calls or through the medium available to us, either Flosstube or Instagram, and make the connections. It is making such a difference to my life to make those connections, and I hope that you will find a way to make those connections in your life too. Not the most important things in our lives, but when it's special to us, when the creativity and the sharing is special to us, then it's a part of the mix. You know, it may not be priority number 1. Obviously my Charlotte is, and my Andrew, and my hubby, and work, and you know, there are lots of competing priorities, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't value and take pleasure in this hobby that we enjoy, and making connections through that is a real privilege. So thank you for helping me all make connections, and I hope that you will all stay well and stitch happy until next time. Goodbye.